Welcome to 2019. With a new year usually comes a New Year's resolution. This year, let's make that resolution to get your finances and indirectly your family in order. Hi, I'm Rachel from My Better Mortgage. This is Lincoln, our newest edition. Welcome to this week's edition of No Fluff Friday. You're probably wondering how it is that you're going to get your family and your finances organized all at the same time. And if you have more children than you have adults in the house, you're probably thinking this is next to impossible. A while back, I had a new client come in to see me. She'd fallen behind on her property taxes and she was about to be behind on her consumer payments. Her husband had no idea what was going on because in their house, she took care of the finances and he went to work. In speaking with her and completing our Know Your Client form, I had determined that her house was total chaos. She had multiple children that each had food allergies, which made going out to eat very expensive, and each kid was in a different activity every night of the week. So with her husband working out of town, she was basically running all over town trying to get her kids from one activity to the next, and was just extremely overwhelmed in doing so. For her, it meant 3 kids up in the morning, a very disorganized start to the day, and then running around town at night, which usually meant stopping for something to eat, not making it at home. When we sat down and we looked at her budget, I asked her just to estimate what it is that she thought she was spending on a monthly basis on food outside of the house. And when we actually pulled up 3 months' bank statements and took a look at what she was spending, the figures were astronomical. Every month she was going into debt about $10,000, and about $3,600 a month of that was eating out alone. So here's what we came up with. I call it the Chore Chart. If you've tuned into the radio advertisements on Fresh, you've probably heard me speak of it before. So I'm going to give you a brief rundown of how this goes. Here's an example of a chart that we threw together just for the sake of this video. This is meant to be for a child. As you can see, every day has different chores on it, so each child should aim to do about 15 minutes of chores a day. So in addition to the chores that are on the chart, at the bottom of the chart, you're going to have a couple of behavioral issues that you're looking to overcome. With every child, there's always something, whether it's talking back or just being rude, not maybe having a positive attitude, or maybe your child auto answers with "I can't" when you ask them to do something. You can put anything that you want on the bottom of that chart. The goal is that every day they complete the things that are on the chart, and you determine how many times they can miss something in a week. So for example, when we first start the chart, you're not looking for them to have a perfect chart, meaning that they've done everything on it. You want to ease your family into this. So maybe in any given week, they can miss 3 things in a day and they can have 3 missed days of the week. So here's what the chart would look like then. So here's an example of what the chart would look like if this child had missed a couple of things. So for example, on Monday, they didn't do the dishes and they were talking back. So they get a big red X on their chart. If your goal for your child is to have no more than 2 missed items on a chart, they can work them off. So an extra 15 minutes of chores will get rid of 1 X on any one given day. The rule is that you can only do that once throughout the week. So if your goal is when you're starting out that you want to have 4 days where they've had a perfect chart, so on this chart we did that Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, they would get the reward that you set out at the end of the week. Maybe that reward is a family dinner out. But in order for the family to have dinner out, the entire family has to hit the goal for the chart. If they don't, you've just saved yourself a couple $100 and you're eating at home. When we first started this chore chart, Emma was about 6 years old, and to make things fair in the house and to keep the lines of communication open, I had a chart for myself as well. Not only did it simplify my life, I didn't have to figure out what it was that was going to be dirty in the house that day. I just knew yesterday I cleaned the bathrooms, today I'm going to clean the floors. I also put an expectation at the bottom of that Emma had of me, whether that was reading to her at night, tucking her in, something simple. Ask your kids what it is that they need from you. They're going to be happier and you're going to be happier because your house is organized. And in exchange for that, so are your finances. So that concludes this week's tips on how to get your house and your finances in order. Remember that the goal of the chart is that you're not spending money throughout the week. The reward at the end of the week for having the perfect chart or the near perfect chart is what you're spending money on, whether that be a dinner out or a family day pass to the ROM. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. That concludes this week's edition of No Fluff Friday. I hope you have a great weekend.